Hi, I'm Enchanting Nubia Net. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today I'm going to focus on Auriel Lowe. She was a beloved nurse from Durham, North Carolina, and she was tragically, M ending in R, by her boyfriend Christopher Whitley, whom she met online. So they had been dating for a very short time, YouTube family, before he allegedly put his hands around her neck. And then he confessed on FaceTime. I'm going to give you the details now about a 34-year-old nurse at Duke Hospital. She was known for her radiant spirit and deep compassion. Auriel's stepmother called her, quote unquote, a ray of sunshine, and everyone who crossed paths with her felt that warmth in her spirit and in her presence. Because Auriel was doing what many of us do, trying to find love on a digital world, and that's where she met Christopher Whitley, 31 years old, on a dating app. Now, her family never met him, but they knew that she was hopeful, and she wanted to find a good man. She wanted to settle down and even start a family. So everyone, I'm just going to pause and say that although Auriel, she met him on a dating app, she could have met him from anywhere. It could have been, through a friend. It could have been at her workplace. It could have been when she was at the supermarket or even at a lounge or vacation, because it doesn't matter where you meet the person. Basically, it's really knowing who that person is, their true character. And as even Chris Rock said, so many times people show the representative. You don't know who in the world you're meeting until you really get to spend time with them. And it has a longevity in your relationship. So it states in the article that they were dating for a short time. I don't know definitively how long they were dating, such as if it was several weeks or perhaps it was a few months. I don't know if it could have been 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, or, even a year or more. So it's very vague. But the main thing is she could have met him at any place, but she did meet him on a dating app. And as we know, regarding dating apps, you have to do your own background check with anyone you meet on a dating app, because the majority of apps are not doing it for you. Anyone with a criminal record, any person with psychological issues can go online and they have nice pictures. They may look handsome. They can say anything online regarding, having a career, having so much education, great network, and even wealth. But you just don't know because that person is showing you their representative. So let's continue.
And new details this evening are shedding light on a Durham murder case involving a Duke nurse.
Cindy Bay spoke with the parents of 34-year-old Auriel Lowe, who was allegedly killed by her boyfriend last month.
I was really fortunate that I got to say how much I loved her because, I didn't know it was going to be our last conversation.
Teresa and Paul Lowe are deeply missing their daughter, Auriel Lowe, who was killed in her apartment on Laurel Springs Drive in September. Her boyfriend, 31-year-old Christopher Whitley, is facing a murder charge. According to a newly released 911 call, a woman claims to the dispatcher that Whitley allegedly confessed to killing his girlfriend. The Lowe's say they never met Whitley in person, who remains at the Durham County Jail, but Teresa, who is Auriel's stepmom, says she wishes there were safeguards on dating apps, saying they met online.
We just don't want her life to be taken in vain.
Auriel's death comes as officials say North Carolina set a horrifying record last year in domestic violence-related deaths. The North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence is highlighting awareness.
The current number of domestic violence homicides so far this year is 54, which is already, one is too many. So 54 is higher than it was in 2018. It's higher than it was in 2022. it's frightening that it's still that high.
The coalition says anyone can play a role in ending domestic violence. They encourage people to seek out local resources if you don't feel safe at home.
Personality, but he definitely had a very extreme, mental problem, because he committed this crime, and on top of that, he showed a friend, someone he knew, on video. He obviously wasn't thinking that this person was going to share the information with law enforcement, and thankfully that person did. That definitely shows to me that he clearly has a lot of issues. And again, it's so important to, have the person that you're seeing, your person that you're dating, meet your family, meet your friends. At least if they don't meet your friends and family, take a photo of them, send it to the people you know. If they have a car, take a photo of their driver's license when they're not looking. Try to send information about them. If you have their profile, of course, you take a photo of it, you send it to people that you know. So even if the person uses a false name and you meet with them and it matches the photos that they have online, everyone knows who that person is by the photos. So in this case, he was promptly arrested, thank goodness. And I know this was such a shock. So I'm going to get more into that later in the story. Because, this woman, she had a loving family. From what I saw, just looking at the TikTok, she was very close to her dad. As you have heard, her stepmom said that she was a light in the presence of everyone. She had a lot of co-workers who spoke on her behalf, stating she was so, kind-hearted. She was so hardworking. This woman was she was a nurse, but she had a higher position than a regular registered nurse as well. She may have been an anesthesiologist, but I know that she invested so much time into her education. And from what I read online, she recently was able to obtain this position, the career that she always dreamed of. She took so much time, she sacrificed so much of her energy to obtain this position. And again, she had a lot of great friends. As you can see in the video, I have a lot of photos of her when she traveled. She was always smiling. She's a very intelligent woman, well put together. And unfortunately, she met this person. I would call him a demon, because anyone who, whatever issues was occurring in their relationship, or even if they had a first time argument or disagreement, there's no reason in the world for you to take it upon yourself to commit this crime where you permanently, cause them to transition. No way in the world. So this is, awful, and it's so tragic that, a hardworking, good-hearted woman who really took care of her patients. She took her time, she took her energy, she was very patient, taking care of others, and this is what happened to her because of the person that, she was open to in her life. She didn't know his true character. And I also wanted to say that an ex-girlfriend of his, I don't know her name, but she spoke up and said that this man, Christopher Whitley, actually caused, harm to her, because in their relationship, it was very toxic, where he physically assaulted her more than once as well. And as you can, as I mentioned, that his hands were around her neck at one point. So that anytime when someone, goes to that level of violence where they have their hands around someone's neck, their intention is to transition you. So if that happens to anyone, man or woman, you cannot take that lightly. That type of rage, you have to get away from that person. And unfortunately, this is the result where this young woman, she's no longer here. She's no longer able to be with her family. I believe she even has either a younger brother or maybe even a son. But she was only 34 years old, YouTube family, working at a hospital. with a prominent position, great family, extensive education, and then she meets this person. I don't know the dating app, and I know most times in the articles they don't mention it, but I really wish they would. And I also wish that, these dating apps had more of a security, level where they did some background checks. But even if they don't, it is up to you. As an adult, you must take your time, everyone. As soon as you get their phone number, do a reverse search. Find out who the true identity of that person is. You have the person's photo. If you meet with them and the photos match up, you need to also, find out the true name, their identity, their first and last name. Then you can see what history you can find out about that person. So her father also said, in quotes, everything that she thought this person wasn't that. And that's a heartbreak of deception, everyone. For someone that you feel that you are loving, someone that you feel that you're close to, someone that you admire turns and betrays you like this. It's a heartbreak of deception.
A Duke University nurse is mourning her death after prosecutors say she was killed by her boyfriend.
Right now, 31-year-old Christopher Whitley is in the Durham County Jail charged with murdering 34-year-old Auriel Lowe on Wednesday. CBS 17's Ben Boken joins us live. And Ben, police say they learned about Lowe's death after a 2-hour standoff.
Yeah, this is where police set up a perimeter with their rifles drawn before Whitley eventually surrendered after he barricaded himself inside of Auriel Lowe's apartment right there behind me here in South Durham. Now, I spoke with Lowe's father and stepmother this afternoon over the phone, and they live in California. They're shocked to hear the news. Family members are remembering 34-year-old Auriel Lowe. They say she was a nurse at Duke Hospital.
All the words you've heard 1,000 times, they're so true. You just numb. You don't know what to feel, for a while. It's a unique kind of pain, losing a child.
In court today, a Durham County judge denied bond for 31-year-old Christopher Whitley. He's accused of murdering Lowe before a standoff with police at this apartment complex in South Durham. Her family tells us they believe she had only been dating Whitley for a couple of months and that the two likely met on a dating app.
She just wanted to make a difference in the world. That's why she was a nurse. Because she tried to fix people. Even in this situation, she always tried to help people.
Her family tells me Auriel earned multiple college degrees and moved to Durham with dreams of becoming a nurse anesthesiologist.
If you didn't like Auriel, you didn't like anybody in the world. Because her heart was
always in the right place.
Still plenty of unanswered questions for a family heartbroken, grieving Lowe's loss.
She wanted to be a mom. She wanted to find a good guy so she could settle down and have kids, and all that was taken away from her, all that promise. We're robbed of that part of her.
Now, today in court, prosecutors also said Whitley was formerly convicted for assaulting a family member in Texas. Now, police in this case are asking anyone with information to come forward and call the police department.
Invite someone that you have known for just maybe a week or a few weeks, even if it's, more than a month. You have to take your time because abusers, they tend to move very fast to gain control, and they know how to put up the charm. That type of charming personality, you need to beware. Slow it down. That should be a red flag for you. When you first meet someone online, have video chats with them. See the person live before you even meet them in person. And of course, you can meet that person, face to face soon, because you want to make sure there's a person in the picture, and you want to see if there's even a real physical attraction when you meet in person as well. Because you can be online with someone, chatting through Zoom or even video chatting. And if you meet the person in person, you may find that you don't like, you may not like their body type. Let's keep it real. You may not like, the sound of their voice in person, maybe their mannerisms. It could be anything. So you have to also, when you meet the person face to face, look for inconsistencies. because do not just fall in love with what you hear. And as for men, of course, you'll like someone because of the way they look, but you also have to see the character. That goes for men and women. I know women usually end up loving what you hear, and that's another way that you may fall in love. And men are, more external. But in both circumstances, take your time. And always tell someone, of course, let a friend or family member know where you're going to meet that person, the time that you're going to meet them as well. And of course, you're going to meet in public. Again, do not meet that person, not even in your car. They shouldn't even know your license plate. They should not even pick you up if you're a woman either. If you're driving, you meet them at the location. If you're taking public transportation, again, go there a few minutes early and then see, how they are, how they are walking into the place and the type of place that they select for your first date. If the person selects, like if it's a man and he selects where you're going to meet, see what his tastes are, and of course how the men and the women also treat the wait staff. Very important as well. Trust your gut. Have discernment. If something feels off, it probably is. Do not ignore those red signs, because I really believe in these cases where someone is violent like this, there's always signs that many people chose to overlook. Usually if you meet someone, if you think back, there were times when there were things about them that were inconsistent and you should have paid attention, or you should have said goodbye earlier. Again, background checks are so important. There's so many public records right now on someone, even regarding, where they lived before. If it matches up as far as, where they work. If you find any arrests online as well. If you have the person's full name, you can even pay a few dollars, under $20 to even get a criminal background check. It's important to do that. And also watch for isolation tactics. If someone, tries to isolate you from your friends or your family members when you're dating them, they want you all to themselves. They try to, tell you what to do in different ways, or try to, give you advice when you didn't ask for it. Those type of things. Really be alert and use your discernment. So I'm going to say, everyone, keep your head on a swivel. I have to say rest in peace for Auriel Lowe, and my condolences to her family, to her friends, to her co-workers, all the people who are so special in her life. She really deserved love, safety, and joy. She worked very hard. She was a wonderful woman, and she did not get this in the end, unfortunately. This story is definitely a call for action, and I'm so glad that her family is advocating for the dating apps to really have more security. And these, dating app companies and the justice system and the community all need to work together hand in hand, because we really need to protect every male and female who is online. The people who have good intentions as far as dating, and the people who have, a past criminal record. These people should not be able to create a dating profile in any of these apps. That's where the dating apps should come in, where, they're doing their due diligence to make sure that not every and anyone can just sign up. That's another reason why, a lot of people, I would say it's more profitable to spend money on dating apps, because of free apps, you're going to get a lot of this. I don't know what type of dating app she was on, but I definitely know for a fact that many of the free apps have so many different characters of people on there, and many of them have a lot of issues. So rest in power, Auriel. and you were a light and you still are in spirit. Please drop a comment below regarding this case. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Stay safe wherever you are.